York's very own muscle building coaches, Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian, proudly present to you New York Muscle Radio.
What's up, guys? New York Muscle Radio, episode number 174. Getting unlimited clients as a Fit Pro with AJ Rivera. It's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, alongside my co-host, Big Pete Kacharian. If you're a new listener, welcome to the best muscle building, fat burning, get strong podcast ever on the planet. And as a thank you for coming to this podcast, being a loyal listener, or maybe you're just stumbling upon this, I want you to pick up our free 12-week training program, NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/getjacked, JAKKED. That's our free gift to you. It's a 12-week program. It's going to show you how to train correctly, because all the things we said on this podcast, we want to make sure all you guys are taking advantage of it and taking action. And this program will be one of those things that will help you on your journey. Big guy, what's going on, man? I have some news to tell everybody too, but I'll say hello to you first. What's up?
Yeah, man, what's going on? I'm anxious to hear the news, because anytime you bring up news on the podcast, I know it's something that you want to tell me, but you're saving it for the good stuff. You know, this is the good stuff here. You don't tell me this stuff in person, so this is probably something juicy.
No, this you know already.
Oh, okay. This is probably a first, though, because usually you hold stuff back for the podcast, and then I got to wait to hear it when everyone else does.
Well, you have to know about this. All right, I'll just tell everybody. So, guys, so with our deepest, saddest heart, we have to say bye-bye to the Bikini and Barbell Show. It will be no longer on this network. It is no more. Laura backed out on us, guys, and yeah, we can't keep up with it anymore. And actually, we've been putting a lot of effort into Bikini and Barbell. We're actually going to set it up with its own website, start to make programs for it, but it was taking up too much of our time anyway, and I feel like it was actually hurting New York Muscle Radio a little bit. So unfortunately, guys, Bikini and Barbell Show is no longer. So unfortunately, but I have good news. So that was the bad news. Here's the good news. The good news is something that we've been talking about is actually going to start coming to life. The New York Muscle Radio After Hours Show. Yes, guys, once a week, New York Muscle Radio will be doing an After Hours show. We're actually going to make some changes to the podcast. From now on, we're going to be getting to the point. Well, from next episode on, we're going to be getting to the point of we're going to be getting to the point of the podcast right away. So if the topic is like today's is about, you know, getting clients as a fitness professional. Really interesting topic today. So, guys, stay tuned for this. There's a lot of things you learn here. Me and Pete learn a lot here, too, and it's a funny episode. But neither here nor there. We're going to get right into it from now on. We're going to change the format of the podcast. There's going to be a little less ranting. I mean, the ranting will still be there. There's going to be a little less off-topic stuff, and we're going to try to save all of that for the New York Muscle Radio After Hours show. So if you guys head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/TV, that's where the show is going to be held. Again, once a week, the show is going to be up there, and we're going to move the topics there. You know, our fitness topics that we talk about. We're going to move our listener question to that. That's going to be an actual video show, so you guys are actually going to be able to see us. We're going to record that in person. And, yeah, it's just going to be another element to New York Muscle Radio to give you guys more of the stuff that you guys actually like. And we know that, like, YouTube and people like to watch videos for entertainment. So this is going to be more, not so much fitness. It's going to cover fitness stuff, obviously, but it's going to be more of us just going back and forth and more of the stuff that we do in the intros of the podcast usually. So it's going to be a funny thing, or totally off cuff, and I'm excited for it. And again, it's better than having, you know, just watching our two heads on Skype. I think that would be really boring. So if you guys head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/TV, that's where the show will be. You can subscribe there right now. And, yeah, that's the good news. So the good news is New York Muscle Radio is still expanding. The bad news is we had to say bye-bye to Laura.
Yeah, so for anybody who likes those nice long rants and just off-the-cuff conversations we have in the beginning of these podcasts, you'll have plenty more of that to listen to and to watch with the After Hours show. And for anybody who hates that stuff, you're going to get less of it on the podcast. So you guys could just listen to the podcast. So I think everybody will be happy.
Yeah, and not even that. I mean, we'll still go off topic on things.
Yeah,
it's still going to be a New York Muscle Radio show here. We're not changing it too much. But a lot of the off-topic stuff, like the intro topics, you know, listener questions, shout-outs, all that stuff is going to be back, but it's going to be in the After Hours show. So I'm excited for it. I think this is going to be good for the podcast. It's going to be a good transition. And yeah, I'm super excited for it. And again, the growth is so you got to try things. And unfortunately, Bikini and Barbell Show didn't work out for us, and that's okay. We wish Laura well, but yeah, onward to bigger and better things. We can't stay stagnant, as like I always say, if you're staying stagnant, you're going backwards. So moving up. In other news, guys, I really want all of you to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and please do something to help us out here, because ever since our server crashed a couple months ago, we were in the top 50 in iTunes, crawling, inching our way to the top. And I think iTunes, what they did was, since our server crashed, it totally knocked us off the board, man. It's really throwing us for a loop. We're still getting crazy amount of downloads, but we're just not showing up in that iTunes top 50. I don't know what happened. I think iTunes said, these guys can't handle all the traffic, so we're going to shut them down. And that's exactly what they did, because it's weird. We're getting more downloads now than we ever did before, but we're still not ranking. It's so weird. All these fucking things have all these algorithms and all these crazy things. So that's why we're trying to start up the after hours show. I think that'll be funnier for you guys, and just keep everyone in the loop. So this way, if you can't find us on iTunes for whatever reason, you can still find us there.
Yeah, we gotta branch out a little bit more, and I think some people were requesting some more YouTube content from us, and we put out sporadic content. We don't really have any type of regular stuff that goes out there. So if you guys do go to the YouTube channel, you might see a few workout clips. We actually did a few more lifestyle videos that were kind of short, nothing too crazy. That stuff's up there. So we're trying to put up more content on that, that platform for you guys. And I think this will be something that people can go to regularly. Like we said, every week it's going to be there. So if you guys are looking forward to more video content, every week you'll have video content as well as podcast stuff. So we get you covered on all ends.
Yeah, so that's what's new with New York Muscle Radio, guys. Just growing pains, I guess. It's always something. It's never going to be sunshine and rainbows. And I always tell you guys everything as if you were my mother, my friends. Tell you guys the truth. We don't hide anything back. No smoke and mirrors. Actually, we wrote that today on our Instagram message, and someone wrote that I photoshopped my pictures for you to look smaller than me.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that.
You didn't see that? Yeah, on Instagram.
What did we write? We wrote that there were no smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you Photoshop me?
Nah, man, you're just always tiny.
I don't know what they're talking about. I got to see which picture it is. Maybe in that picture I look smaller. I don't know.
The funny thing is, if anyone's photoshopping anything, it's you. You're the Asian here, not me.
Yeah, I don't know how to Photoshop people. I could Photoshop logos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, I want to talk about this. I found this article. I thought it was actually really funny. So this guy ate and trained like The Rock for a month, and he talks about his endeavor here. So he exactly followed The Rock's plan exactly. So he ate The Rock's diet, which consists of 5,000 calories total a day, 563 grams of carbs, 94 grams of fat, and 466 grams of protein. That's basically what he ate in a day. It's basically covered over 8 meals. And this guy followed The Rock, exactly what he said. And he did it for, how many days is this? I'm sorry. I think I said it before, but I don't remember. Oh, a month. He followed it for a month. And it did, unfortunately, his strength has gone up 10 to 15 pounds across the board. He gained solid amount of muscle. It doesn't say exactly how much he lost here, but he actually looks good. So he ate 5,000 calories and actually looks like he lost weight. But again, if he was doing nothing before this, I would assume that would work. But he still has he doesn't look like The Rock.
Well, no, of course he's not going to look like The Rock. But you know what, too? I highly doubt, to be honest with you, he even ate the 5,000 calories a day.
Yeah, definitely not, man.
Because that people don't realize that's hard work. Even if you eat junk all day, and I know The Rock's diet is not junk. He eats, quote-unquote, clean bro bodybuilding food. 5,000 calories of that stuff, that's a lot of food. I mean, even junk food, that's pretty tough, So for someone to do that for a month going from nothing, that's a drastic change. So, people say they do things. Maybe he even thought that he was hitting 5,000 calories. Maybe he was eating a piece of steak and counting it as, 16 ounces of steak, stuff like that. Who knows what he did? But plus it was only a month. So what kind of results can you really expect anyway? Me and you know that.
Yeah, so for meal 1, he would have 10 ounces of cod, 2 whole eggs, and 2 cups of oatmeal. Then meal 2 was 8 ounces of cod, 12 ounces of sweet potato, 1 cup of vegetables. Meal 3 was 8 ounces of chicken, 2 cups of white rice, 1 cup of vegetables. Meal 4, 8 ounces of cod again, 2 cups of white rice, 1 cup of vegetables, 1 fish oil tablet. Meal 5, 8 ounces of steak, 12-ounce baked potatoes, spinach salad. Meal 6, 10 ounces of cod again, 2 cups white rice, salad. Meal 6, 10 egg white omelet, 1 cup of vegetables with fish oil again, and then at bedtime was 30 grams of protein powder. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I'm willing to bet that The Rock doesn't even follow that diet to a T at
Definitely
least.
not.
You know what I mean?
Not.
That's what people don't realize. A lot of times people think, okay, if this is, what the media is publishing as The Rock's diet, then this is what he's eating. But you got to think, too. You know how much time that involves to eat all that food?
The Rock has someone cook for him.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, even to sit down and to eat 8 ounces of cod, 2 eggs, and this, and then 2 hours later have another chicken and everything. Like, he's busy, especially if he's filming movies and whatever he's doing.
He also gets up at 4 a.m., man, so I could see him getting 8 meals a day easily. If you start at 4 a.m.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you think he's carrying around, 8 Tupperwares a day?
Yeah, man, I do think he is. Because it's made for him. He doesn't have to think. He literally just takes him, puts him in his bag, and that's it. Takes him with him. I do think he does.
I don't think he does. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying, like, normally if someone's on their feet all day like that, that's a huge inconvenience, and I'm just willing to bet that he's not following through with that every day. And those maybe diets are definitely for short periods of time. So when they say The Rock's diet, that's not something he follows around year round. When that came out,
when they talked about his cheat day, remember his cheat day? Apparently he didn't cheat for however many days, and he had like this epic cheat day, which was total fucking nonsense, probably.
Yeah. So that was probably, he might have actually, that was a diet plan he was prescribed to get in shape for a movie role, but nobody follows a diet to a T year round, especially if they're not hardcore bodybuilders.
Yeah, no way. But if he's doing it for a movie, maybe.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was probably, that was a diet plan that for a short period of time, maybe, 5, 6, 7 weeks before a movie, this was the diet he was going to follow. And he probably followed that, but now people call that his diet, when I'm sure right now it probably looks completely different.
Well, this guy, he actually did make progress. Again, you don't know what he was eating before that. But again, you got a long way to go if you want to look like The Rock, that's for sure. But The Rock tweeted the guy and said, tip my hat to this guy. Because the guy said didn't do this to look like The Rock, but wanted to see if I could work as hard as him. So The Rock tipped his hat to him for that. That's got to be flattering, man. Someone copying your diet. What does Pete Kacharian eat today? Let's see if I can copy it. So what'd you have for today, man? Let's go. Rattle it off.
Man, today was nothing special at all because, again, out of convenience, it was a struggle. But I'm bulking right now, so my food sources are just simple, and whatever it is that it's calorie dense. I still got more food to go. It's 9:30 right now, and I'm not done yet for the day. But first meal of the day was literally just 2 scoops of protein powder because I was out and about, and that's all I had. Second meal pre-workout was a pretzel bagel with nothing on it, a scoop of protein powder. Post-workout was another scoop of protein powder with 2 pretzel bagels with cream cheese on both of them. Again, this was just
delicious, man. That was so good. That hit the spot today, man.
Yeah, this was just out of convenience. Again,
that's our signature food, I think.
Yeah, I haven't been home all day till I had like my dinner, so that's all I had around. I wouldn't advise that. I'm not recommending that, but that was out of convenience again. Then when I got home, I had breakfast for dinner, so I had 6 whole eggs. What did I have? Like a pound of hash browns. And another pretzel bagel with cheese on it. And just now I had two servings of walnuts. So that's all I ate today so far. And I'm at
those pretzel bagels are so good, man.
I'm at I think 2,800 calories for the day. Like I'm way behind for the day. So I got to get a lot more protein in. My carbs are pretty good for the day, but I get more protein and fat in. So I got to get another salad meal or 2 in just to hit them off. And today's not a typical day. If I was home, those meals would be much more balanced. And at this point, I'd shaved off most of my macros by this point. But again, out of convenience and necessity, that was just what I had to do today.
So there, guys, if you want 19.5-inch arms, that's the diet. Pretzel bagels and whey protein. New York Muscle Radio whey protein. Not even a plug, man. That's literally what you use all day. And I'm guilty of it, too. Mm-hmm. How many scoops every day? 6?
I had 4 today, but I ran out of the last the last jug, so I got to grab some more of it. But I go with, I'd say 4 minimum. And see, right now, too, my protein's at around, it was at 350 a day, which is ridiculously high. And I kind of backed off it a little bit, so I eat about 300 grams a day. So it's almost impossible for me to reach 300, 350 without at least 2 to 4 scoops a day. Yeah, but sometimes 6. I haven't been doing the 6 because the protein, when I was doing 350 a day, I had to do 6.
Wait, so now since you've been doing the protein that high, have you noticed anything different keeping it that high muscle gain wise? Like, do you notice a huge difference? Like, is it worth it for someone listening to this to say, "Oh, Pete bumped his protein to 350"? Is it something worth doing or no?
It is.
Or do you feel like you're gaining from it? I mean, you're bulking still, but
yeah.
do you feel like it's more? Is it leaner weight that you're putting on?
I think first of all, I would never recommend that in the past to go that high at my body weight. Because I'm 195 right now, right? So it's kind of overkill to go to 350. The reason I did that though is normally, let's say my calories are where they are now. My macros would be a little bit different. So I'd probably go 250 protein and 500 carbs. But now, I was doing 350 protein, so 100 grams of protein more and 100 grams of carbs less. So calories were exactly the same. In the past, I would have said go at 250 and 500 because you're pretty much maxing out protein at around 250 for my body weight. So if you need to up the calories, go up with the carbs. But this time around, I kind of kept the cap on the carbs right around 400 because my body just doesn't really respond well to carbs after about 400. Now, years ago it did. I used to be able to go to 500. My body just functioned really well on it. Now, we talk a lot about insulin sensitivity and just, maxing out your glycogen stores. My body doesn't respond as well to 400 plus grams of carbs anymore, so I kind of max them right there at 400. My fats are high too, 120 grams a day. So I had nothing left but to just continue adding protein at that point. So it was kind of like a necessary evil. I don't think it added anything additional to my diet, whereas carbs wouldn't get the job done because, like I said, protein's probably maxed out at about 250. But for me, I feel better doing it that way with the 350 protein because I'm not as bloated from all the carbs, actually. And that's part of the reason, because my body's not tolerating the carbs as much. So it makes me feel better. My digestion is actually a little better that way, even though protein in general is a little harder to digest than carbs. When I eat 500 grams of carbs, they're just going to sit in my stomach. They're going to bloat me, and I'm not even going to look good. So, like I said, it was more of a necessary evil, but it worked. I wouldn't say it added any advantage over 250 protein. You know what I mean? It's not like I grew more because of 350.
Yeah. That was a long-winded answer.
Plus, it's expensive. So it costs a lot more to eat another 100 grams of protein than 100 grams of carbs.
All right, man. Let's move on to the listener question of the day. Guys, if you have a question you'd like us to answer, you can submit it on our website, newyorkmuscleradio.com/listener question. And again, these questions are going to be answered on our after-hour show starting next week. So we're recording the first one Friday, man. I'm excited. We get all our new video equipment, our new sound equipment. So excited. So, guys, if you have a question, head on over there, and we'll answer it now on the New York Muscle Radio after-hour show. So today's question is from John. He says, I am a die-hard, but I'm still in terrible shape. All right.
He loves it, but he's not necessarily good at it. That's okay, though.
As a child, I had to take a horrible steroid that helped my asthma. One of the side effects is that it made me prone to storing fat in my midsection and chest, more so than normal. I'm 6 foot, 180 pounds, and I'm skinny as fuck. I can grab a handful of fat from my stomach. I have almost no muscle at all, and as I'm leaning out, I look too skinny, but my stomach is fat. I'm eating 2,200 calories a day. Should I build muscle first? I need help, and your group training isn't open right now. Did we answer this question?
We might have. I don't know. It sounds familiar, actually. We might have answered it.
This question. No? I don't think we did. No, we didn't. It sounds familiar though. All these questions.
We get questions like that a lot. Should I bulk now or should I diet? And that's why we did a whole podcast on that topic. Yeah. Because we get that question so much. So that's probably why we're getting it confused.
Yeah. So you want to answer it?
Yeah, I mean, for him, he gave us a lot of information there. I wouldn't worry about the stuff that happened to you when you're younger. I wouldn't say that has any effect on what your body composition is right now.
100%.
So just focus on, what you can do right now. And if this is the case, if you're skinny and you got a little bit of, you have that skinny fat syndrome going on there, honestly, just focus on, it's not out of control. Just build some muscle so that you're not skinny anymore. And when you have to burn that little, you're going to have to burn less body fat when you build that muscle. So you're only going to have a little bit to burn. So I would honestly just put the muscle on now. You're not going to need to bulk, but just eat a decent surplus, grow some muscle, and it'll make burning that fat so much easier. Because right now, if you don't want to be skinny, then dieting is just going to make you skinnier. Even if you lose that body fat, you're just going to get skinnier overall. And what do you say? 6 foot, 180 pounds. That's
skinny.
That's relatively skinny. So you don't want to be 6 foot, 165 pounds. So I would just focus on gaining some muscle. Your appearance is going to be leaner by putting more muscle on anyway.
Yeah, it's going to have to be one of those things where you're going to have patience, and you're going to have to go through the process. Yeah, you're not going to be as lean as possible gaining, but again, like you said, 6 foot, 180, that's really skinny. So if I were you, that's exactly what I would do. I would go on a bulk, especially since you're eating 2,200 calories a day. If you start dieting, you're going to drop those calories below, and you're not going to look very good. You're not going to feel very good. So if I were you, that's exactly what I would do. I would go on a bulk. I would go head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, either pick up the Jacked program, the NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/GetJacked. It's a great program to build muscle. Or head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com and pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code. That's our signature diet book, and that will show you how many calories to eat, how many grams of protein, and what you need to take your body to the next level, bulking-wise. And then even when you need to cut, it'll show you exactly what to do. So that's exactly what I would do. All right, man, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with AJ Rivera and today's podcast.
Do you want to get the results you've always dreamed of? Do you want coaches that genuinely care, are professional, and get back to you in a timely manner? Do you want to be stronger, healthier, and look better naked? Then let me tell you, New York Muscle Radio is definitely your answer. Since working with them, I can hardly believe the results.
They coached me through a post-contest reverse diet and all the way through to an off-season strength program.
These two fitness geniuses have pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and in the process, I have been able to make big jumps on all of my major lifts.
In 14 weeks, I added 100 pounds to my powerlifting total and smashed my first meet.
Since working with them, I've added 55 pounds to my squat, 50 pounds to my deadlift, and 20 pounds to my bench press.
And in 12 weeks, I dropped over 10 pounds of body fat and added over 20 pounds to all my lifts.
I have never had as amazing of glutes as I have training with them. So I can say, no matter what your goals are, you're guaranteed to be stronger, healthier, and let's face it, better looking if Pete and Anthony are your coaches.
So if you are tuning in to listen and learn from the huge array of knowledge these two have, or if you want to hire them as your coaches, you will not be disappointed.
New York Muscle Radio is the best in the business.
You heard it from our New York Muscle Radio clients. Do you want to join our team and reach your fitness goals? Visit NewYorkMuscleRadio.com for all our coaching programs.
But I'll tell you what, when I'm done, my biceps are humongous. Humongous. Like that, bam!
My name is Anthony Bevilacqua, and I'm the host of New York Muscle Radio podcast. My arms have been a weak point for years. When I started training, my arms measured 11 inches. Even after many years of hardcore training, nothing would get them to grow. With the help of my co-host, Big Pete, we set out on a mission to gain 1 solid inch to my arms in 12 weeks.
In the greatest experiment of all.
12 weeks later, this program finally helped me get 18-inch arms. The 12-week arm experiment, the ultimate arm growth program, ebook, the audio book, and the workout video. Pick up your copy now on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
Hey, great coffee.
Doesn't it taste good as Fresh Perk?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Caffeine, the world's only instant coffee that's fortified with muscle-building protein. Visit buyproteincoffee.com now.
Damn.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean...
What can I do?
You gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutealicious program.
Glutealicious?
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it, but don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutealicious ass.
Glutealicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
What's up, New York Muscle Radio listeners? It's your co-host, Big Pete Kacharian, and I'm glad you're all listening. Put down that tilapia and asparagus. Learn how to get bigger, stronger, and leaner eating what you want. Pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. But for now, let's get to the show.
All right, guys, we're back. And today we're going to talk to you about growing your PT business. So whether you're a personal trainer just starting out or someone like me who's been in this game for over 15 years, we're going to show you what's missing in your business to take it to the next level. We have with us today AJ Rivera to help us break down marketing, sales, and leads. Welcome to the New York Muscle Radio podcast, AJ. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I am amazing. Thank you and Pete so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited to get into this here.
You could be honest, man. AJ didn't you didn't really talk to Pete too much, right? I'm really the head honcho here. You like me better. You could say it.
It's a tie so far. That's what I say. I love you differently, not the same, not more or less. It's just a different love.
Pete, you're that man. You're always so quiet. You never really speak up too early in the podcasts.
Yeah, I have to say it's funny because we got a chance to speak with AJ briefly just before we started this podcast. I didn't know too much about him other than the fact that he shows up on my Facebook sponsored ads almost daily. So I didn't know too much about him. Usually those guys, I don't trust too many of them. But just speaking with him for a little bit, I like him, and I definitely think he's got some valuable information to offer us and the New York Muscle Radio audience.
Yeah, so AJ, what's your story? How did you get into personal training field? How did that evolve into the business you have now? And because we know that you help others grow their fitness business. So give us your whole story from start to finish. You told it a little bit before, but give us the whole meat and potatoes here, because I'm sure everyone's biting at the bit here to find out.
Totally. Yeah, I can give you the whole story, and you can feel free to stop me if any part feels interesting, or you can rush me through it if it feels extra boring. So I wanted to be a personal trainer basically right when I was in college. I was kind of thinking like...
Wait, hold on. I'm going to stop you already. And I'm notorious for cutting everyone off, so let's just put that out there right now. So how old are you now, and how old are you when you started in college? 18, obviously. So how old are you now?
I'm 27 now, and I was 18 when I started college, yeah.
Oh, Pete, so he's your age.
Yep, 89, man.
90.
90. Oh, so you're actually younger than me.
I'm a baby a little bit. Yep.
All right, go ahead, man. Continue.
All right, cool. So I was 18 when I was in college, and I needed a part-time job. I was like, man, I need to do something. And I played sports in high school growing up, and I was like, you know what? I think I would really like to be a personal trainer. And seems like it would be real easy. And I could just get clients, and they make so much money per hour, and that'll be simple. And so I remember the day actually, because I remember telling my mom about it, and I was kind of a super scrawny kid, still skinny, but not as scrawny as I was back then. And I was telling my mom about it. I'm like, I'm going to be a personal trainer. It's going to be so great. She's like, yeah, whatever. Not that she was squashing my dreams or anything. She just like, I always had ridiculous ideas. And so I remember one day I went and took all the money I had in my savings, and I signed up for my certification, and I went and bought the Walmart brand protein and creatine. I didn't know what they were used for. I called the buffest friend I had him come over and teach me everything I could about fitness, and literally like started working out a lot. Like I was into fitness before, but it was like I got more into fitness after I decided to be a personal trainer, which is totally backwards. I don't recommend it. But
wait, so how much gains did you make from that actual little bottle of creatine that you bought?
Dude,
probably so much, right?
I got so much. I got huge. Well, dude, I was like real scrawny when I started, like real skinny. And you saw me on the video here earlier. I'm still pretty skinny, dude, but like I was like tiny looking dude. I had friends literally thought I was doing steroids and stuff like that, and I was like, no, man, like I just actually work out now, and try to not eat garbage half the time, and I have these Walmart supplements, and they give me the poops, but I feel jacked. So yeah, here I am. And so that's how I started to decide to get into, I signed up for the certification, and I guess to speed through sort of that story, or what, I got a job at a commercial studio as a personal trainer. And I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. They're going to bring me clients and I'm going to make so much money. But, you guys know this as well as I do. The commercial studios may or may not do a really great job of getting you new clients. And even if they do, they take kind of a huge cut of your, of your pay.
Yeah,
and
like all of it.
Like almost all of it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a lot of stuff that's expected of you to do for not pay, which is, again, like, it's fine, nothing against anybody or anything, but it wasn't my thing. And so I knew I wanted to eventually like just own my own spot, because I'm thinking I want to keep more of the money, right? And so that eventually led to me leasing out a dance studio where the little girls used to do like aerobics and stuff, and afterwards I would bring in my middle-aged women and we would do our personal training session, and it was awesome. And then that started to grow. I opened up my first location in the hood because it was all I could afford. And then I kind of went through all the mistakes every personal trainer makes when they first open their gyms. And I made a lot of them. I think I made all of them first. And then I started working with different coaches and mentors and starting to get things on track. Eventually opened into 2 locations. And by the end of finally sorting through it, I was able to get my studios to the point where they were each doing about $250,000 a year. And then I sold them last year. And so that's the super abridged version. If any part of that sounds super cool, we could dig into it. But that's basically where I am now. And now I coach and consult other people who are other fitness business owners on growing their business, whether it's in brick and mortars or online as well. And it's been awesome.
Yeah, so that's you definitely went through the full ring of that. So you opened up one location, then opened up a second location. And what type of personal training are you doing? Because I'm just curious, because I only do one-on-one personal training, and I know that I'm definitely short-selling myself. I'm making more money by not doing the group coaching, but I just don't like the group coaching. It's just not for me, I just don't like it. So what kind of, were they group coaching facilities or?
Yeah, that's and I think it's important that you mention that, because I did the semi-private model, like, up to 8 people tops at one time. It usually ended up being 5, and it was like that semi-private personal training model. But I think it's important that you teach the method that you believe in, right? So like if you love one-on-ones, you should keep doing that. And oftentimes my clients who are personal trainers now, who are like, what should I do in my business? Should I do a semi-private since that's what you did, AJ? I'm like, no, like, do what you believe in, because you're not going to be able to sell for a premium price unless you really believe in what you're doing. And your client is also going to feel that if you don't believe in what you're selling. So, but I did the semi-private where I did up to 8 because I had a rig in my studio. So it was the 4 squat where I have a rig, and I was like, great, 4 people can be going, 4 people can be spotting, and we'll be good to go. And that was sort of how I came to that conclusion there.
So I'm curious, because you mentioned that when you started, you went right from kind of the regular gym setting to your own. Did you have difficulty getting clients in the door initially? Was it an easy transition for you? Because I know that for most people, that's probably a little bit of a tough transition.
Totally. Yeah, that's a good question. And one I haven't gotten actually on any podcast or anything I've ever been on. So thank you for asking.
You're on the best podcast ever. So.
I am on the best one. And I shouldn't be doing all these mediocre joker podcasts where they don't ask me intelligent questions right now. So, so I had some clients because I taught like a boot camp there. And so I didn't want to be a total jerk and like tell everybody I'm leaving and you should sign up for me because I'm cheaper. So all I did was like on my last session, I was like, all right, I'm done. By the way, guys, this is my last session. And some people are like, where are you going to train? Can I come train with you? And I was like, you can. I just didn't want to publicly advertise it because I felt like felt unethical to me, a little icky, because it was groups, right? If it was one-on-one, I don't feel bad about taking a client. But if because it's a big group, I didn't feel so cool. So I had a couple of clients when I started renting out of the dance studio. And then I think I made this like mistake that most personal trainers make, and I had that field of dreams syndrome. When I finally opened the location, I'm like, once I build this location, it's going to be so amazing that people are going to come from near and far, from all over Chicago, from the suburbs, from Wisconsin, and they're going to come to my studio because it's that amazing. And that didn't happen. So no, I had a hard time when I actually opened the studio and had like real bills to start paying. And yeah, that was, I mean, it was one of the most, I think, stressful times in my life when it comes to running my business, because I had no idea where to start. I tried ridiculous things like having people dance outside of the studios and hold up signs like it's a high school car wash, and that didn't work, if you can imagine. So,
how old were you when you opened up your first place?
Good question. I think I was 19.
Oh wow! So you were only doing the personal training in a gym for a year then?
Was I 19 or was I 20? Maybe I was 20. I don't. It's been a while. Yeah. No, I was 20 years old, man. That's no, I was 19. I was 19 and I owned a business. That's messed up. Yeah, no, totally. I was 19 years old. I couldn't drink, but I was training people. Could barely go to war, but I had a business. Failing one, but I had one.
And then how old were you when you opened up the second one? I'm just trying to time frame it here.
Yeah, I opened because these are questions I haven't thought about for a while. I think it was about a year later, because I was tired of struggling in that one location, and I convinced myself, wrongly so, that it was because my studio was in the hood was why my business wasn't successful. So I went and opened a second studio in a richer neighborhood, like a higher income area, and I thought this is going to solve all my problems. And that didn't happen. Unfortunately, it just made the holes in my systems that much bigger. When I started, of course, and that's when I really was like, I need some help with my business. Like, I need somebody to guide me, somebody to tell me something. And I was seeking, and I was looking at, like you say, some of these sponsored ads, and some of them are jokers. Most of them are jokers. But finally finding some people that resonated with me, and that's how I really started to pick things up.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned this a little bit before, but we know as a personal trainer, one of the hardest things is not actually physically doing the training of the people. That seems to be the easy part, but actually getting the clients in the door. So how can a personal trainer find an unlimited amount of clients? Because like you said, you opened up your place, you thought, oh, okay, if you build it, they'll come. And as we all know on this podcast, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, I can relate this to New York Muscle Radio too. We're building a business online here, and we have supplements now, we have products, we have courses, we have things like that, but just because we put them out on the internet doesn't mean people are automatically going to come. So how do you find an unlimited amount of customers?
Totally. So, yeah, I kind of hit the holy grail. I think right now with marketing for fitness, you're in a really awesome period of time where you can use things like direct response marketing, like Facebook advertising and things like that, to directly control how many leads you are coming in, how much they cost, and what your conversions are. So that really was like the nitro in the engine. But I don't like when people get super obsessed with just like Facebook ads. People are right now all over the place. But I think that you need to start having offline, especially if you have a brick and mortar business, offline marketing methods built into your business. So like the thing we started doing is actually planning our marketing, right? Planning things like charity workouts and bring a friend months and challenges and all these like kind of staples of fitness business. But we combine that with a really simple and effective like Facebook marketing direct response campaign. And we literally could decide how many clients we wanted every single month by just building an actual campaign that is it finds the people who want your service or maybe don't even know they want it yet but may in the future, and bring them through the process when they're ready versus just kind of announcing that you have, a new like I'm doing another challenge, guys. Like saying that all the time gets rid of its specialness. So that's what I mean, that really turned it around for me in terms of lead gen, is going to where customers' attention is. And right now, however you want to look at it, everybody's attention is on their phone, whether they're listening to a podcast like this or staring at Facebook or Snapchatting. So, yeah,
it's true. And, one of the things I learned this early on, I was running a gym. So I kind of had the same kind of story as you, whereas we kind of split with a fork, when you meet that fork in the road. I just started becoming a personal trainer. I liked it. I had money saved. I was like, I think I should open up a gym. And I was so close to doing it. I hit that fork in the road. You went down that path and I went down a totally different one because I decided not to open up the studio. It was too risky for me. It was such a mistake. I regret it so much now. So I went the other route and I worked in the gym. I busted my ass and I actually worked my way up to manager and I ran the whole department. I made good money. I have to say I made good money. I made percentage of sales and so on. But I learned early on that one of the things I used to do was to try to get clients in the door was, oh, this month, a special of the month, this month a special of the month. And what I was realizing what I was doing was I was shooting myself in the foot because I was selling myself short with money. I would discount the rate for people, and it was just I wasn't getting any new clients in the door. It was just the same clients keep I'll take advantage of the sale, and that was good because I was helping my clients and make saving them a little bit of money, but it was bad for me. So it's funny that you say that. I had no idea about Facebook ads. Like everything you're talking to me is like gibberish right now.
Yeah, no, and you reminded me, like those deal hoppers, like daily deals. I mean, they were all the rage for fitness businesses for a long time. But every time I have a client who's like, "What if I do a daily deal?" I mean, if you have 0 clients, do whatever you want. But if you're like kind of okay, yeah, it's only better than nothing. But like daily deals, like, do you want somebody coming to you because you're the cheapest program, or do you want people coming to you because you're the absolute best at what you do, or at least you believe you're very good at what you do and they believe you're the best, or they resonate with you, or they can relate to you because you were just like them? Like, those are the clients I want, and those are the clients I can actually charge more. So it's a win-win because this client now is coming to me not because they are getting some special, but they think I'm the best, or my facility is the best, or they've heard of me, or they've followed my YouTube or my Facebook page, and they are ready to like, they know exactly what they're getting, and because of that, they get better results. I can charge more. Everybody's happy. My reputation grows, and that's like a real business, I feel like. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Now, how does this work for if someone is an online trainer? So we know that that's the new thing now. Everyone in Instagram next to their name is online personal trainer. So how can online trainers actually get started in getting the clients in the door? Because it's one thing just to put the thing online trainer in your Instagram profile, but how do you actually get clients online now? Is this Is this the same exact thing to getting clients online, or is this only for in person? What you mentioned before.
Yeah, so it's similar, but it is different. I think one of the all right. Here's my thing with advice. This is what works for me, and for what like people who pay me money to give them advice. I don't know if it'll work for everybody else, but it works for my clients and it works for me. And I think you have to come at it with a little bit of a different strategy than a brick and mortar business, because with the brick and mortar, they know what they're getting, right? They're getting you or somebody who works for you standing right next to them, counting reps, telling them you can do it, believing in them, cheering them on, maybe calling them, texting them. They know exactly what they're getting. And online, the idea of an online personal trainer to some people still sounds kind of scammy. They're like, you're going to charge me, $500, $1,000 for a workout program? That sounds like I can Google a workout program, right? So I think more of the value has to be put in the accountability and the expertise. So I think it's similar in that you want to put yourself as like the authority, right? And you also have to pay very close attention to bringing people slowly through your funnel, right? So posting pictures of your abs, as awesome as they are, because they're on my screen right now and I'm staring right at them, with a little link to your ebook for $7 or whatever, is fine, but it's kind of like jumping the gun on a first date, right? It's like showing up to somebody and instead of like saying, hey, my name is, Anthony, and I would like to get to know you. And then if they say yes, then you tell them more. Then eventually you ask them out. Then maybe, later you seal the deal. Instead, what you're doing is you're just saying, hey, let's get this going right now. And so I think we want to use that sort of mindset when you're setting up your marketing. And I like doing it in kind of 3 different phases. And I learned this from my good friend, Scott Olford. So I'm not taking credit for your work, Scott. If you're listening to this, why? But if you are, that's cool. And so you're going to have your cold leads and your warm leads and your hot leads. And you have to know that they all think they want different things. And so they need to be marketed differently. And so I think really understanding that and bringing your prospects through kind of a journey where everything is their decision is going to lead to you hitting a bigger percentage of the market, in my experience, and you making more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if you can kind of give us an example of what you mean by that. Because, I mean, like I said, I know what a cold lead is, a hot lead is, and a warm lead, but maybe someone else listening to this might not. Like for a personal trainer just starting out, what does that even mean?
Totally. And this is more specific for online. You can do it for brick and mortar, but...
Well, either way. Either one.
Yeah, but...
I'm saying personal trainer, it doesn't matter if online or in person.
Totally. I mean, it works for both. But so, like, your cold leads are people who don't know who you are. right? They don't necessarily trust or like you because they don't know who you are, and they don't even know they have a problem yet, right? They haven't even addressed the fact that they have any sort of like that they need to lose weight or get stronger or whatever, right? So you have to market to them a little bit differently. Your cold leads don't need to hear about your, amazing ab workout because they don't even think that first of all, they don't know you, and they don't even necessarily believe that they have a problem with their abs yet. So when you're marketing to your cold leads, your main focus is to get them to realize they have a problem and get them to at least know who you are and kind of figure out if they're going to like you or not. That's it. You're not trying to sell them anything yet. You just want them to buy the idea that they have an issue. That makes sense?
Yes.
So it might be like a blog post on like if you're going to use direct response marketing or something like that, right? It might be a blog post on how a personal trainers are helping, moms get in the best shape of their life ever despite never having time. Something like that, but way less wordy. I sounded like Leslie Knope with her headlines, but something like that, right? And then they click onto that blog post or that guide or that download, and now they're interested, right? Another really easy version would be something like a free meal plan or a detox or a workout guide. Something that people would maybe look at because they're interested. They don't necessarily know they have a problem. All they need is a detox, right? That's what they're thinking. I don't need a full workout program. I just need a detox and I'll be fine. And then once they kind of buy into that idea, you can market to them. You can treat them as a warm lead, right? And then market to a warm lead as somebody who thinks they have a problem, but doesn't think they need full-on Anthony and Big Pete's help. They're ready for it. Like they can do it by themselves. So give them something that makes them feel like they can do it by themselves. So like really something that works really well is like workout challenges, like fitness challenges, like a 5-day or 7-day. You can go as long as like a month, but I don't recommend it because it gives people too much time to give up on themselves, especially if it's a free challenge. And then after they go through that, then they might realize, okay, I tried the 7-day challenge and I gave up by day 3. Anthony, where do I sign up? I need your help. And that's when they're a hot lead. Does that make sense, or is that too
Yes, no,
tactical?
it does.
Okay, cool. I wanted to give helpful information, but that's not necessarily the most sexy or fun funnel, quote unquote, to go through.
Sorry, man, my dog's going ballistic here.
But that with me?
We'll edit that out. Don't worry about that. No, so I think that's really cool. And I like the way you described that, and I think that's good. So now, what's the best place for a personal trainer to actually get clients? Is it social media? Is it the newspaper? What's kind of the best way to actually advertise?
Yeah, I think social media is the best way to do it, but you need to do it correctly. And so like Facebook marketing is working really well right now. Instagram can work pretty well also. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily an expert on the Instagram marketing. I would say if you're doing it, not necessarily trying to sell anything from your Instagram, instead just trying to capture emails or getting them sort of in your funnel, right? Converting that cold lead to a warm lead to a hot lead.
That makes sense. And I'm going to cut you off here a little bit. Again, I'm infamous for this. So kind of what we do here on the podcast, and I always keep everything upfront and honest because that's how we are with New York Muscle Radio, no fluff. We kind of do that lead magnet thing that you said with the cold lead. We give everyone here, so anyone listening to this, if you're listening to this right now, you can just head on over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/getjacked, JAKKED, and you get a free 12-week training program. And the reason why we decided to give that out originally was because we feel like we give out a lot of information and we want people to start off on the right foot. So that was originally our reasoning behind giving that out. But it just so happens that that's actually a cold lead generator for us because then they have to put their email address in to obviously get the program. So for us, that's kind of like where we started. So for someone listening to this, you could kind of do something similar to that. I think that would be a really good way to get someone's foot in the door. And then usually we send out from here, I send out a weekly email, just whatever's on my mind about something with fitness. And just to kind of build more rapport with people. And I think that that's really been helping since we implemented doing that because, we get a lot of downloads with this podcast, but I feel like a lot of people don't take action that need to take action. So by giving out that program, we're getting more people involved with us, not only on iTunes, because what happens if iTunes is gone tomorrow? You guys would never hear this podcast anymore. And that's a travesty. That's a tragedy in itself. So we just want to stay as connected to as we can. So I guess, are we doing something right there?
Are you doing something right? Yes, of course. Yes, that's a brilliant thing. I noticed it, when I was listening to your show even earlier today. I was listening to it, and it's super smart, right? When somebody's listening to your podcast right now, they may or may not have, this might be their first episode, right? And poor them if they have to hear me on their first episode, right? But if it's their first episode, they don't necessarily know and like and trust you yet. They don't necessarily know they have a problem. So let me get his free workout, these guys' free workout, and see if I like him. And I would maybe add to it that you should have something else, like a next level. And I don't know how much you want to talk about your funnel here, but I would
go ahead, man. It's okay. Like I said, we're honest. I'll tell everybody everything. People know I went on a rant on the last 2 podcasts ago, and it's fine. Go ahead.
Totally. No, I think, if you wanted to warm up that lead, I think the emails is good. I think being as platform independent as possible is great. Repurposing your stuff, getting people on your email list, getting your stuff on YouTube if you can, having an Instagram presence, getting on as many without breaking yourself down, right? But getting on as many of these things as you can and staying consistent is the best way to separate you from being dependent on one platform. Because like you said, if iTunes shuts down, you have your email list, right? And you can tell everybody, hey, we actually moved the podcast to this other provider now because iTunes doesn't exist, right? Yeah. Or whatever. And I think doing that, not necessarily putting all your eggs in one basket is going to future-proof you to the best of your ability. And then I think the only thing I might add to this funnel, if I was your consultant or coach, is I'd say after they get your 12-week thing, they should get a free sort of upgrade to join some sort of, I don't know what your 12-week looks like, but join some sort of community, or maybe get bonus workouts or something like that basically gets them to say yes again to you mm-hmm. and to New York Muscle, right? So that would be the other thing I would add. And then I don't know what if you have a big offer or what your main offer is, but that would come after that little intermediary step.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I don't think we really have, I don't know. See, I think we do things a little differently. I don't know if it's smarter or not, but we kind of let the person make the choice from that point. I guess if they've been listening for a while, and you know how it is, you've been on people's email lists before, you maybe not buy right away, but then you end up buying later on, a year from now. We've been doing this for over 200 episodes now. We've had people who've been listening from day one who just purchased. The other day we had someone who signed up who said they've been listening since day one. So it does take time. So we kind of, I guess the upscale thing is, the coaching part of it. That's going to be our big ticket item.
Sure. Yeah, man. And then it sounds like what you have going is working good. And in to your guys' credit, these podcasts are so content rich that they almost are your warm-up sequence, right? There's so much good stuff and actionable advice you get from listening to you guys that it gives them a reason to trust you and buy your bigger ticket thing when they're ready. And then you're not pushing away people because you're saying, listen, you need to sign up for coaching or you suck. No, you can just continue to enjoy our podcast, which is 100% free, right? So I think you're doing, everything right.
Yeah, and when it comes to the the Facebook marketing, the one thing that I always thought was really important that I don't know if everybody always sees, but you keep mentioning that you want your audience to know, like, and trust you. And with that, I feel like when I see sponsored ads and stuff like that on Facebook, immediately I don't know the person, I don't necessarily like them, and I don't necessarily trust them. Just because you see that sponsored title there.
Unless it was a woman, right, Pete?
Yeah, well, it depends what type of sponsored ad it is. But, immediately I think, okay, here's somebody trying to sell me something. So you always think they don't have your best interest in mind. They're out to get some money. Right. As far as that, what's kind of the strategy so people can really see right off the bat that, okay, this person's not just somebody who's trying to make a quick buck, because I think that's where a lot of people have trouble, especially when it comes to paid advertisement.
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. I think, and people are becoming more and more jaded because of how, there's 5 million advertisers, as I'm saying this right now on YouTube, or on Facebook, which is more than double what it was last year this time. So there's more and more, you're not getting away from the sponsored ads, and they're going to start appearing in more places than you could even believe. But I think the best way you could do it is by starting with something treating that lead with respect, right? Like they're in your cold audience. They don't know who you are. So running an ad that says apply for my coaching program is super forward. And so instead of leading with buy my thing, here's my thing, lead with giving something for free that your audience already wants. Not that you think they want, but like what they actually want. And that's been my like strategy and my client strategy to, not just building their audience, but, generating sales relatively quickly is by starting with not, hey, apply for my coaching program, but hey, here's a free meal plan. If you want it, you don't need it, and if you like it, here's more stuff. And if you like that, maybe you can give me money. Maybe, but not necessarily forcing them to make that decision right away, and just treating people with respect and focusing on the audience building too. Like podcasts, YouTube, Facebook organic is one of the best ways to future-proof yourself. I think in like 6 months to a year, we're going to see a lot of people out of business who are just depending on paid advertising. So don't just only do Facebook paid advertising. Do other stuff too, even if ads are giving you most of your revenue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Pete, I guess let me simplify that for you, because I know you have a hard time understanding that. So basically, you go up to a woman, right? You don't pull it out right away. You have to slowly ease her into the date, man. All right, this is exactly what he's trying to say.
Hey, man,
right?
you ever hear that you're supposed to know your audience? Sometimes pulling it out right away works. But no, I agree. In most cases, that's probably not the best way to go about it.
I think that was the first time in this podcast you had an actual good comeback. I think you might have had some laughs for that one. 200 episodes later, there's see, AJ, if someone's first listening to this, they actually laughed at one of Pete's jokes.
You're welcome.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna take partial credit. The joke wouldn't have happened without me being
That's
here.
true.
That's very true. So now let's say we have a new trainer listening to this, and they're just starting out, and they hear all these other trainers online making 6 figures a year and blah blah blah. So how does a trainer go from making $200 a week to making over 6 figures in a year, and kind of like what systems and processes do they have to have in place in order to do that? Because obviously you're not just going to make that kind of income overnight.
Dude, yeah, no, that's an awesome question. It's funny. I do a daily email, like you do weekly emails, and that was the topic of my email today. So it's very top of mind for me. Now, are you talking about like an online trainer specifically, or a brick and mortar trainer, or both?
Both. I would like to hear both, because I'm just curious the answer for both.
Sure. So I think when we start with the brick and mortar, since that's super familiar, I literally wrote an email this morning, which was like, if I had to start over today in 11 steps, exactly what I would do. And so the first thing I would do is obviously find some place that I would honestly, first I would hire some sort of business coach just to hold me accountable. That's the real first thing I'd do. That sounds like I'm promoting myself. Doesn't have to be me. Go buy from somebody else, but get somebody who can like keep you accountable. It's just like a personal trainer for fitness. Like if you want to lose weight and you want to make sure you lose the weight, go hire somebody to make sure you follow the nutrition, you do your workouts, and you're held accountable to everything. So that's kind of the first thing I would do, like guaranteed. After that, I'd find a space. The cheaper, the better. I wouldn't necessarily open a studio right away. I might try to find a space that I can rent, or if you live somewhere warm, like I do, you could go do it outside, right? Like a park or a beach or something like that.
Wait, don't you live in Chicago?
I used to live in Chicago.
Okay.
I now live in Santa Monica, Los Angeles area.
Oh, nice, man.
Yes.
See, Pete, we got to listen to this guy, man. I want to move. I want to get away from New York.
I'm already taking notes, man.
About time you took notes and started listening.
I'm already taking notes. Love it. So, yeah, you guys can come by anytime. So, LA, yeah, I live in LA now, so I would train outside. But if not, rent a space. A lot of places, if you can't find a space that'll rent to you, you're not trying hard enough. Dance studios, martial arts studios, gymnastics places, they will almost always rent to independent trainers, and they will do it happily. Try to get a flat rate. Do not get some sort of percentage. That sounds nice because you're betting on yourself to fail, right? If you're like, oh, well, what if I can't afford it? What if I get no clients? Well, if it's percentage, then it doesn't matter. But what if you make $20,000? Like I had a client, she made $20,000. Her percentage, she had zero rent. It was all based on a percentage of her sales. It was 33%, so she owed it like $8,000. I'm like, you're being robbed. Like you're literally being robbed. So like if you got to do it with a percentage, give it a cap. but ideally try to negotiate a flat rate. You know, I always give out the arbitrary number of under 2K, but obviously it depends on where you live. New York's super expensive. Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So you know, a little bit more is fine. So that's kind of like the next thing I would do when it comes to that. Then I would start doing daily videos every single day on Facebook. Probably just because I like to see my own face on Facebook, and it's my strength. But if your strength is writing, you know, do daily emails or daily Facebook posts. If your strength is speaking, do a daily like podcast and share it to Facebook. Daily podcast is kind of a lot. I would, but start a podcast or a YouTube show or whatever. But I would personally do a Facebook video, and then I would repurpose that video to YouTube after the fact, just to get, you know, more authority. Right? There's so many.
Why daily? I'm just curious. Why daily?
Okay, so for the Facebook relevancy score, like, so your engagement score is really good, and video right now is like, live is the most, it's shared more than any form of Facebook media, as it is right now. So like, we've literally run ads, and I've had friends who've run ads with the exact same video, one live, one downloaded and uploaded as a video, same ad spend, and the live video got 14% more reach.
Wow.
Just because it was live. Same exact video, same everything. Just it was live, and that's it. So if you feel comfortable doing live, that's cool. But if you have to do a pre-recorded video, that's fine as well. But videos are easier for people to digest, and you can always repurpose it into other stuff. You can even turn it into a blog post if you really wanted to. But I would do a video just mostly because it's my strength. I'm used to it. I'm used to talking in front of a camera. I can do it pretty much at any given time. So that would be sort of the next thing I do. Let me see if I actually have this list. I feel like I had it somewhere here. So after that, I would run a Facebook ad. I would actually run a literal Facebook ad to generate consultations for my fitness business and start just doing consultations and selling, right?
So I'm sorry to cut you off, but in this video, are you actually like saying, okay, sign up for a consultation with me? So whatever, let's say the videos and whatever, fat loss, whatever. And then at the end, you're just saying, okay, guys, be sure to check me out at whatever for a free consultation. Is that kind of what you're doing? So you always the end, you always put something out there.
Yeah, not every time. That's a good question. I should have covered that. Yeah, not every time. I would say you can have a soft call to action. I don't think the call to action should always be sign up for my something, because it's just kind of like, I don't know, a lot of people, it may or may not leave a bad taste in their mouth, right? So like, you could leave like a link in the comments and not even say anything, like just don't even address your call to action. Or you can make your call to action something a lot easier, like, you know what, if you really like this video, can you just hit the like button and tell Facebook you liked it too? Like something like that works really well. If you're always going to sell them something at the end, it might turn off a lot. Like, you'll get sales pretty quickly, but you'll kind of turn off some of your audience who might have bought from you in the future. So I would just do content videos, and maybe at most once every week I would do a video that's like, hey, I just opened up 5 spots in my 12-week program or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
This is just the way I would do it. I mean, it's not to say that always having the call to action, by the way, if you want a free consultation, book it below. You guys are very personable, so if you do that, it'll work. But some people, I don't know who's listening to this podcast, maybe you're super shy, right? If you try to hard sell at the end of every video, it might not resonate well with your audience, and I think it'll seem forced, personally, but
yeah,
just my experience.
All right, so run the ad then.
I'd run an ad, then I would hire an assistant actually right at the same time. And a lot of people think that's like premature of me, but the reason is because if you were running Facebook ads correctly, you can get like 100 leads in like weeks, literally.
Wow.
So like I've had people, I think the record I have is somebody got 90 leads in 5 days. Like that's the record. So like I'm not going to sit on the phone and call 90 people. Like I will if I have to, but it'll be more effective if I have an assistant whose only job is to call that person. And if there's so many, like 90 is too many, but like if that happened, we would both do them. But ideally, you'd probably want to do like 20 or 30, like a reasonable amount of people. And then you can focus your energy on like booking consultations and enrolling clients. And so that would be sort of like the next step for me, is just enrolling whatever my goal for clients is until I'm generating the revenue I need or I want. So for us, our number was 60 high-end semi-private clients because that generated to right around, right under $250,000 a year. So that was our goal.
So then obviously then from this point now, and I'll talk from my experience. So now if I had 90 leads, which is fine and dandy, but I was able to actually book all 90 of those people in for, you obviously, what I do is I do a free consultation and then upsell them from there into personal training. So would I actually be sitting with all 90 of these people if they all hypothetically booked? I mean, I know half of them wouldn't show. I know how that works, but like, would I actually be sitting down and going through the hour-long consultation with each of these people every week? Because that seems like I would need an assistant just to do that.
Yeah, so I definitely wouldn't recommend like running your ads to the point of getting 90 leads. I was just doing it as a point of reference. We used to shoot for our actual business like 20 to 40 depending on how many clients we needed, which yes, you could sit down with 20 people over the course of a couple of weeks and shouldn't be, if you have 0 clients, you have all day, right?
Yeah,
but
sure.
I definitely don't recommend marketing unless you have the team to do it. Not sitting down with 90 people though. That's an interesting point.
All right. So now, AJ, I have built a well over 6-figure private one-on-one personal training business. And with this podcast, since we've been starting to monetize it, we've built around a 5-figure business. So what is it going to take for us to take it to the next level? What do we need to kind of take it to the next level in kind of both businesses?
Sure. Cool. Those are good questions. So for your brick and mortar, I guess what's the goal, right? What is the goal?
Well, as I put it in, I think it was 2 episodes ago, 172. I want to stop making baby money. That's exactly what I put in the last podcast. Exactly what I said in the last podcast. So I want to make big boy money. I want to be very comfortable, and I want money to be a thought. And I want one of the things with personal training, and again, I always speak from my heart. One of the things with personal training, I love personal training. It's a very rewarding career. It's something that I always wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to help people, and personal training is really that avenue to do it because it's just you're helping someone better themselves. But the problem with personal training is, knock on wood, if I break my leg tomorrow, God forbid, I'm kind of out. It's kind of gonna suck. It relies solely on me to make the money. So for me, I want to be able to make enough and have a system in place where I don't have to be there 100% of the time. You know what I mean? So it's always, if I decide to go on vacation tomorrow, I still know that I'll be making money. So that's kind of like the idea behind it. It's kind of why we started the podcast and started making a business out of the podcast, was because I want to build something that's bigger than me, and I want to help and reach as many people as I can. Our goal when I started this podcast was to get over 1 million downloads, and we're almost there now. Lifetime totals downloads.
Totally.
So we're almost there at that mark, and it's just a huge milestone for us when we get there. But it's one of my goals is to get my reach out there as far as humanly possible. So I guess my goal is to build a big sustainable business and something that's way bigger than me, that's going to overcome me. That's kind of our goal.
Totally. I think that's awesome. I think that's an awesome goal. I think with your brick and mortar, you own the studio, right? Or
I built it out. So basically I have a garage, and I built it out totally. So it's just for clients. So I don't pay. I pay myself rent, but you know what I mean.
Totally. Yeah. So I think for that machine right over there, the important thing, this is a really important thing that you just mentioned, because a lot of people get turned off from the idea of personal training because they think it means they're going to be stuck. Again, it's not that you don't enjoy it, but stuck where you basically just have a high-paying job. You don't have a business, right? If you get sick for a week or two, you stop making money, right? Like I used to, that's how my business was for a while, where I'm like, okay, we're going on vacation. That means we're just going to lose money for 2 weeks, and that's it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We're just going to take a hit. And that's not really, that's just a really awesome job. And so I think for building the brick and mortar into a business is you have to start outsourcing a lot of the things you do, or insourcing, or whatever you want to call it, hiring people, right? And so hiring a few trainers to work with you who represent your brand, right? That's always the fear, is that the client fears that you're going to bring in somebody else who's completely different than you, and your fear is like, maybe they'll steal my clients or whatever. I think if you have a model that's built to make it very difficult to steal clients, that won't happen. Like we used to run, it sounds like you run something similar to that with your 12-week programs, and start hiring people to manage almost every sort of facet of that business. I would start with trainers, so you don't have to train yourself, and an assistant so that you don't have to book consultations. And then lastly, a salesperson, right? And that can literally just be a machine that just, churns out money, and that's why you're doing it. But it also allows you to have a much bigger impact, because now if you wanted to, you could have a couple studios, right? You could, or you could think bigger picture. You can spend more of your time thinking about how you're going to innovate with your training instead of, another 12 hours of work today, right? So
yeah, exactly.
That's what I would do with the brick and mortar. And I've seen the most successful client I've had with one physical location actually is from New York, and she was doing over $40,000 a month. So, I mean,
wow.
I don't know what your financial goals are, but that essentially makes, $400K is the barrier to entry to the 1%. So if it's to be a 1%er, you can do it with just your brick and mortar training studio. She did. She actually branched into online though, because she liked the freedom. She made all this money and she liked it and she loved helping people. She's like, I like freedom a little bit more than money. And so she switched to online as well. And she's still, rocking and rolling, and I talk to her every week. But anyway, cool. So that's what you could do for your brick and mortar. For your podcast, I think having an actual like evergreen marketing funnel with a little more intention, where you kind of control where people are throughout your process, would help you build the online coaching into another six-figure revenue source. And so you guys have amazing content. I would just put a little bit more money into advertising for you guys, even though you don't want to be that schmuck on the sponsored ad. That's how you get on New York Muscle Podcast, by the way. So
that is true.
That's not why you got on the podcast. I haven't seen your ads, but that's not why. I actually listened to your podcast before, and I'm like, this guy has some. But I usually check out all my guests on this. I only had one guest on this podcast that I didn't really check out 100%, and it still bites me in the ass today. So I'll tell you this quick story really, really fast. Pete, do you know who I'm talking about?
There might be a couple, but are you talking about the vegan one?
Yes.
Okay.
So we had this. We were talking about this, and he said, "Listen, we got to get a vegan on the podcast because we don't understand why someone want to be vegan. Whatever. Neither here nor there. We have to get someone on to explain vegan that actually lifts." So I happened to come across someone on Instagram, vegan bodybuilder. He had like a decent physique. So I'm like, "Oh, great. Let me get this guy on." So I get the guy on. Literally, we sat down bullshitting with him. Whatever. He sounds good. Whatever. We start talking to him on the podcast. We're like, all right, so how long have you been a vegan for? 2 months. Was his fucking answer was 2 months.
Oh, my gosh.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. I wanted to hang the phone right away. I was like, let me see what he has to say. And actually, I did get one thing out of that podcast. I guess it's not totally a waste, but dude, 2 months? Oh. But anyway, since then, I do check out all my guests prior to having them on, Pete. So it wasn't the sponsored ad that got you on, but
I know. You guys did your rundown with me before. This is a legit show. Everybody listening.
So going back to the online thing really quick. So you mentioned an evergreen funnel. Now in English, what does that mean?
It's a funnel that basically you don't really have to change it that often, because it's not just like, here's my next challenge. It's sort of a funnel that once you build it and every part of it works, it will bring in leads consistently, and you can spend your time sort of just, once you have that funnel built, you can just optimize it instead of always creating a new launch, right? Because like in the online world, right, what was traditional, like the traditional ways, and it still works, but I don't think it works as well. The old school way to do it is launch a product and build this hype, and you're going to start with a lead magnet, like an ebook, and then you're going to go to the video series, and then you're going to go to your webinar or your sales page or whatever. And that works, and it's fine, but it's unpredictable, and it's very like you're living launch to launch, and I don't want to live launch to launch in my business, and I don't want my clients to have to live like that either. So instead, you build like an evergreen offer that is just slowly kind of turning the gears and bringing people to you who want to be a part of your world, slowly letting them know when they're ready, when like to get to sort of the next step and warming them up. And then from there, when they're ready to, become a coaching client as well. So, online fitness coaching is such a lucrative business, and it helps so many people, because now, like, for instance, if I wanted to look like one of you guys, and there's nobody around here who looks like you or who I like or who I vibe with, now I can actually work with you. right? That's the amazing benefit of online training, is your impact now reaches all over the world, so you're not limited to just the people in your physical location. But of course, a lot of people really love it because of the freedom. But it's not this push button dream. There's work involved, and it all starts with making sure your motivation for doing it is to actually serve people. So I'll say that to any online personal trainer listening. If you're thinking of like getting a magic funnel that you just push a button and it just makes you money overnight, that doesn't exist. That doesn't happen. I work online and I am working all day. Like, it is not a push button. And you guys know this too. You guys work online, you're working all day. It's late where you guys are at right now. And you're here, having to deal with me. And so like it's not this push button dream. So you got to be okay with putting work in, and you have to really believe in what you're selling. Like, really make it good enough for your mom, if your mom needed it, to live, right? Like, make a program so good that if your mom bought it from somebody else, you'd be happy for her instead of like, oh, you got hustled, So
yeah, exactly.
That's sort of my rant on that.
No, I agree 100%. So now, just out of curiosity, how does your program work? So if someone listening to this wanted to hire a business coach, and I do agree with you 100%, you said that to recommend, one of the first things you would do would be hire a business coach. It's just hard to find a good one. So I think we might have found a good one, guys, on New York Muscle Radio here. But we say the same thing about personal trainers too. There's so many bullshit ones out there. And, we can be honest, there's so many bullshit coaches here. So how does your coaching program work? What kind of services do you offer? Because I don't even know how the online training business coaching thing works. So explain that to our listeners listening, and where else can they follow you? Can they listen to your podcast? Go ahead and talk about where anyone can find you.
Totally. Yeah. And I'll echo what you said. Like, there are a lot of legit scam artists in the online business coaching world. So I love when people research me. Like, I've had people email me, say, are you real? I'm like, just Google me. Go find, if they're a legitimate business coach or online anything, right? Any sort of internet marketer, if you Google them and they're good, they will have reviews. And if they're terrible, you will know quickly. So if you can't find them on Google, they're probably not the right fit for you at this time. But yeah, totally. If you wanted to check out my stuff, you can go to ptfreedom.co. And that'll take you to, I have a case study training there on how me and my clients generate over 30 high-end fitness clients every single month. And so you can get that. It's 100% free. And that's probably the best way to get me. Or you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/AJ Rivera official. That's probably where I'm most active right now.
And how does it work with your training program then? So your coaching program, sorry, not training. So how does it work? Is it like a weekly thing? Like, how does it work?
Totally,
so if we wanted to hire you, how would it work?
Yeah, so it's different for different situations, right? I have kind of a core training that's 8 weeks long. It's for people that are just needing to learn the basics in marketing and sales and systems for their business. So I have that program. I also do one-on-one with a few private people. I only take on 5 at a time. I currently have 4. So this isn't a made-up number. I can say their real names. This isn't false scarcity. Anthony, sign up, and Pete right now. But no, but I personally take on 5 one-on-ones a year, and then we also have some lower level basic e-learning courses as well for people just starting who aren't necessarily they're just even barely in fitness and they just kind of want one thing. But those are the main things we have, is the 8-week core program called PT Freedom, and then we have I do one-on-one coaching or one-off consulting with kind of higher end clients on occasion. Yeah.
Perfect. AJ, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. We appreciate it so much. And I guess if we could wrap this episode up and summarize it all in one sentence for our listeners, I put that on you, man. Go ahead.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. I guess the one sentence is get a business coach who cares about you and has done what you want to do in the past, and have an evergreen marketing strategy. Don't have field of dream syndrome and hope and guess that clients are going to come to you. You need to have a way to control where and when your leads are coming.
Perfect. Well said. Guys, this was a great episode. AJ, thank you so much for coming on. Be sure to share this with all your friends. If you know someone who's becoming a personal trainer or is a personal trainer who's not doing well or maybe even is doing well, let them listen to this because I learned a lot on here, so I know they will. So please share it with all your friends and make this official. Subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review and head on over to AJ and say hi to him for us as well. But Big Pete, it's your turn, buddy.
All right, guys. Pete and Anthony with AJ Rivera, New York Muscle Radio, and we're out.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.